Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at next month's Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife. We're going to do a random knife giveaway. That's of the O-Knife Drever. This is a cool one. Sent to us by Dave, This Old Sword Blade Reviews. Anyone watching tonight that can type #knife in the comments could win this. Anyone. And then, are you prepared for a shit hits the fan scenario? Are you prepared to survive that? We will talk about it. I've always thought about it, and I've prepared here and there. I'm interested to see what other people have come up with, or maybe people, I lived in New York City for a long, long time, and accumulated a little bit of stuff there, but didn't have the space, and then moved into a house, and then have since then gotten more. So I'm interested in where you live, or not exactly where you live, but the kind of place you live, and are you ready to survive there for a while? OG Blades, nice to have you here, Dave. Evening junkies all. I'm sorry. Let me get whatever just flew in my eye out. He says, evening junkies all. My special technique is called Rev Fan. Switch that on and it goes back from whence it came. Oh, I like it. The Rev Fan. Nice, man. I like that. You've come up with your own like retcon kind of thing. Marco, hey Bob and Knife Junkies. Marco, good to have you here, sir. Ground Fog, always a pleasure with that eerie skull, but somehow reassuring. James Hart, nice to have you here, James. With your pooch, I think. I can't tell. Picture's small. Taps the mic. Is this thing on? Yeah, never tap the mic. You'll have people like me going, ooh, so bad for the mic. Acid Test Kids, good to have you here, sir. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, Doug Bowl, a pleasure, Doug. I have the knife here that Doug just sent me. He gave this to me, and it is so incredible. I love this. It's the EK 44, the famous EK Commando dagger, made famous in World War II. Definitely a coveted knife, and it was used in Vietnam, I'm pretty sure, as well. And coveted, they didn't make many of them, but the K-Bar brand bought the brand. Look at that tip. I mean, it is stout. It's got nearly Scandi double edge. There's a secondary bevel there, but so stout at the tip. That's what you want with a dagger. And then I've come to realize that the long handle is definitely so that you can use it in this sort of fencing or saber grip with the thumb extended without having to put your finger on the back of the blade. The Bowie, the longer you keep it, the more it endures. Ooh, I like that. That's cool. The Bowie, and it cuts both ways, right? That's why David Bowie named himself that. AJ, nice to have you here. Happy Thursday, all. He says, "Hey, look at that! Two rather well-spoken gentlemen using all in the same way, and I like it. Knives are life. Good to have you here. Howdy, sir." He says, "Well, howdy to you, as always. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice to have you here. It's nice to see the same people over and over, and then we have new people coming in, and that's always awesome too." Doug Bowl, have had my 18-incher for 10 years. Applied a gray faux patina and still no tarnish. Wow, 18-inch Bowie? Is that what you're talking about? And be more specific, please. This sounds incredible. What kind? James Hart, I have a W49 Western Bowie. Love that. Bought in 1985, and it is still shiny. Mine is right here, and still, I always do that every time. It's hanging on the wall. The sheath always drops off the wall, but this one is still shiny. I mean, a little bit worse for wear, but mostly pretty great, with a weird anonymous bone handle. Not sure what that bone is all about. I don't know why it always wigged me out. My brother got that wigged me out, but I like it. I kind of like that aspect. He got it at a pawn shop, and I always hinted that I want it, and eventually he relented and just said, "Shut up," and gave it to me. Craig Vincent, just a junkalo. Good to have you here, man. Junkalo. James Hart says, "I am a knife-aholic, no doubt. I am a knife junkie." So we're kind of in the same stratosphere. Well, I mean, we're in the exact same waters. Doug Bowl says, "The man may make the blade, but in actuality, it's the blade that builds the man, something that only knife owners would comprehend." Yeah, no kidding. And you know what? You could probably say that about knife makers too. Wait, did you say knife makers? Or could you, Jim, could you go back and then I will greet Sir Wilby, something that only knife owners would comprehend. Yeah, I believe that. And also knife makers who are definitely knife owners, obviously. But because uh, the more, like in a very direct way, the knives they make the man or woman. But because we've spoken to some, and I want to get more women knife makers on here. Not because they're women, but I just think they have hands the size of mine. No, I'm just kidding. It has been cool talking to women knife makers, and then I realized it's really no different than talking to men knife makers in many respects. Wilby says, hey, Bob, Jim, and junkies. Hey to you, Wilby. Yeah, I remember. Split and Slices. Byron, nice to have you here. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and junkies. Craig, Will, James, ATK, Marco, El Capa, Doug, AJ, OG Blade, Ground Fog, Knives Are Life, and all coming in. Yes, hello to all of you all. Benedict Odie, good to have you here. Evening, Bob, and all. Hey, I haven't shown you a knife yet. Let's just look at this real quick because I think it looks good under the knife cam. Frankie Frank, nice to have you here, sir. This is the station. He says, how's it going, everybody? Pleasure to be here with you, Bob, Jim, and everybody. You already know what's up. Hashtag knife. Thank you, sir. Our first hashtag knife, at least that I have seen. And what does that mean? That means he is going to, he is in the running to win this very same evening, this O-Knife Drever. And man, really, really nice blade. Very nice contour G10 handle scales. Blue anodized hardware. What's this deal? N690. What? Yeah, N690. Sorry, they used a weird font and it's really small. And so anyway, hashtag knife, and you're in. Bags, good to have you here, Bags. Is that Bags like cornhole? I just learned that in Wisconsin or Minnesota, they call cornhole bags. Bags, good to have you here. Hey, Foots shouting out from Nova Scotia. Oh man, nice to have you from Nova Scotia. I aspire to go and explore Canada at some point in my time, preferably in a camper, I think. But yeah, Nova Scotia. I have not been there. Where have I been? I've been around Lake Superior. That's and then Toronto and Montreal. But I want to go out into the country. It looks so beautiful. Pete Davidson, speaking of which, he's coming to us from on the other side of the planet where it's beautiful. Also, Pete Davidson says, I live semi-rural and we are prone to bushfire and floods. So we are always somewhat prepared. So what does that mean to you, Pete? I'm curious. Like, I think the Mormons have a rule. I'm not sure how much they keep, like 3 years worth, or they keep a bunch of food, and that's part of their thing. Is to have survivability for a long time for them, for their larger families. Deplorable NYC prepper. I was you once. Hey everybody, hello from NYC. Hey, it's good to have you here. Hope all is well in still what I consider the greatest city. I love New York. I think it's it fluctuates. It goes through some hard times. I was there during a particularly good time, I think. Jesse, evening to you, Jesse. But tell me, deplorable NYC prepper, let me know what kind of space you're working with for prepping in New York City. That was always a huge issue for my wife and myself. Especially in terms of food storage. Adrian Fighter 35, nice to have you here, Adrian. Good evening, Bob and Knife Junkies. Badass dagger. It is no doubt a badass dagger. Sent to me by a badass individual. Thank you, Doug. Greatly appreciate it. I wanted to show off this here. This is the Partisan. You've seen this a few times. I really dig this knife, and for some reason tonight I just couldn't put it down. It swings easily. Just make sure the door is closed and you are facing the door when you're swinging it around, and make sure the cat's not in there and the dog's not in there. No chillins can come barging in, but this one, it swings around really nicely. If you're practicing your angles, or just, want to familiarize yourself with what it's like to actually have a knife in your hand swinging around, you will notice that it looks quite similar to a chef's knife. So you can basically do the the same thing with a kitchen without getting the partisan. Or you could take your chef's knife and put a nice swedge in it like this. But man, I love Station 9 knives, and they have a couple of new ones coming out that look really cool. I think another collaboration with Fred Perrin is in the offing. James Hart says, I'm sort of ready. That's kind of how I feel. I need a way to filter water, then purify it. Heirloom seeds so I can grow veggies. Yeah, heirloom seeds are very easily gotten. You can where did I get? I mean, I used to really be into it, and I got a number 10 can full of different heirloom seed packets. But the water filter, the Berkey filters are awesome. I know there are other gravity filters like that also have fluoride filters. I always loved the Berkey that we have, but like I said, I just saw one where a guy filtered like soda out of it, got some sort of murky water, filtered it twice, and it was like crystal clear pure water. So there's a lot out there, and I think if you get the gravity fed kind, well, I think they're all gravity fed, so I don't know. That used to be a selling point. Anyway, Will B, nice to have you here, Will. Bob, do you have any non-ferrous tools for non-permissive environments? I have this, which I made, and then I have where it's under all of my. Oh, here it is. I have this, and I want to get more from these guys, and I want to get more just G10 knives. This is the Revenant Core. What do they call this? Revenant Core Sharpie type thing, and it is a G10 tip there. So it is very strong, pointy, and nasty. And he makes them a little bit long, like so you can't really put the cap all the way down and force it on. It stays on there enough. But I think that's there so that if you dull it, or if you practice with it and dull it, or you dull it on the cranium of some scumbag, you can always kind of file it down and get a new tip without it getting too small too quickly. So very cool. Revenant Court, he's going to be coming on the show. We just scheduled an interview next month. So I'm very much looking forward to talking to him. Cash is his name, and he does some really cool NPE weaponry, or NPE tools. Is that what it is? NPE, non-permissive environment. I don't know. I had this on an airplane once, and it was accidental. I was not planning on having it because I had just heard how someone was busted with one of these. But I was lucky, and no one noticed it. And I meant to take it out of my pen thing of my bag and put it, in my carry-on. Trombone Christian, good to have you here from Lille, Luxembourg. No way. Luxembourg. I have never been to Luxembourg. My mom and dad, I think, were there a few years ago. One of the smallest countries in Europe. No, and also one of the most beautiful because it's nestled in the Alps, right? Budget guy KT, good to have you here. Hashtag knife, hashtag be up y'all. You've got a very cool logo there, sir, and be up to you. And I don't know what that means. I'm sure it just means like enjoy, but I had to ask someone at work. I know I said this the other week. What is dead ass? And he laughed. I was like, I look to people half my age to speak to my. I need to speak to the kids. No, I just wanted to know what dead ass meant. Did that? And it turns out it means like positively, or like yes, absolutely. Northern Knives, good to have you here, Mike. Hello, Jim, Bob, and Junkies. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the show last week and for that giveaway. That was a really shining moment. That was an awesome show, and also what a giveaway. Man, how generous. Thank you, sir. Pete Davidson says, being prepared for us is making sure the property is fire and flood safe. This is interesting. The phones charged up, fuel and water in the tanks, and being ready to grab the cat and bail. Here, if need be. So interesting that it's fire and flood. Interesting to me because I don't live there. So I guess part of the year is monsoony, and then part of the year is super dry. I'm curious, how do you prepare for fire? Do you dig trenches or something, or do you do controlled burns? Curious. Donald Fry, he is a gentleman junkie. We've had a few on tonight, but Donald Fry is new to the group. Thank you so much, sir. Hey, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. I'm not ready to go off the grid, but ready to last a good while on our own if needed. Yeah, that's that's exactly how I feel. Um, However, I've been watching a bunch of survival videos and shorts, and they're so fun, like the survival hacks and stuff, and it's gotten me, marginally interested enough that I created myself a little hobo cook kit. I'm going to show you in a little while where, I can cook up a small meal, and but it's all contained, and I have a bunch of different ways to start fire and that kind of thing. And last weekend, when I made a sauce, a my tomato basil sauce on the fire pit, and oh man, that was so fun. It's the only first time I cooked a sauce over an open fire like that. Turned out deliciously. But wow, what was I going to say about it? Oh, that was the first fire I ever sparked without a lighter. That's right. First ever. So it's cool. Just subscribe to the newsletter if you want to hear these kind of stories. Every week I send out a newsletter, and it's not asking for anything. It's just a few paragraphs of me like not ranting. It's never ranting. Musings, poetic musings after recording the midweek supplemental. I just have a little bit more I got to get off my chest. I put it in the newsletter. It goes out to you. There's usually a picture or two, and Jim always writes an awesome headline and does some great editing. So do check it out. It costs you nothing, and all I ask is, even if you don't read it, which you should because it's fantastic, but even if you don't read it, just open it. Just do this Knife Junkie a favor and open it, and that it makes me feel good to see those numbers. Anyway, James Hart says, I live by a creek which has water, but almost more than likely runoff from the street. Oh, so petrochemicals may be in the water. Yeah, that's what we have around here. I mean, I live outside of Washington, D.C., and so there's tons of traffic around here. So there's a lot. There are parks and areas of woods and stuff, and then as you move further away from the city, it gets more so. But I have to believe that all the rivers and creeks close by, we're close by one that we go to all the time, that's where I would go, but I would filter the hell out of and boil it and do whatever else. Yeah. Doug Bull says, Bob reminds me of the Bowie sandbar butcher Bowies supposedly used in the fight. Which model is that again? It's called the Partisan, and gosh darn it, pardon me, it is out of print. They stopped making it. They discontinued this, and the little lapel dagger. This, because I was just on their website checking on this new knife they keep showing off on their Instagram, and I noticed that this they stopped making, and the Partisan. I'm shocked because I thought this was their flagship. James Hart says, oh, and I'm from Wyoming. That's right, Wyoming, so beautiful. The picture is of me on my recumbent bike. Oh, a recumbent bike. Yes, I see it. Yes, just as you got a close up of my scalp there. Sorry about that, but yeah, that's cool. Those recumbent bikes are, I gotta say, they're always striking when you see them. Like, oh my gosh! And I always appreciate when they have a flag, just because around here people drive like maniacs, and maybe sometimes I'm not the maniac, but I'm corralling the maniacs, or I'm circumventing them, and so maybe in doing so have to behave like them for a moment or two. So on a recumbent bike, I appreciate the flag because it gives you a warning. Gus Beck, nice to have you here, Gus. Hey, Bob, good evening all. Just popped in and glad to be here. Hashtag knife. Excellent. Hashtag knife, referring to this knife that you all could win. This is the O-Knife Drever. Not sure what a Drever is, but I do know that it's got a really nice blade and it feels good in hand. And oh my God, the feeling in my thumb is coming back, and it's not like good feeling. Let's put it that way. Todd Carr, evening, everyone. Evening to you, Todd. Good to have you here. Cooper Clark, again, man, great name. Cooper Clark, being prepared. Good to have you here, I should say. Welcome. Welcome. Sit down and pour yourself a drink. Being prepared for us is bug out bags for wildfires. 1 year food stored up from the garden. Beautiful. Chickens for eggs. Excellent. And we save seeds from our harvest to replant every year, working our way to a homestead. That is so the answer is yes for you. for sure. I mean, even by location, it's kind of difficult to even say that I could ever be ready. Of course, I could always be more ready, but I mean, I would have the golden horde running down my back door, in as soon as the resources are emptied out of DC, which would take what, like 2 days, 3 days. Pete Davidson says fireproofing involves keeping the gutters clean. Okay, right, because obviously, okay. A perimeter of clear land around the house. Okay, so no dry vegetation around the house, and just keeping the place free of leaf litter and sticks. Man, I bet if the fire gets big enough and windy enough, it can jump. I don't know if that's true or if that's just something I saw in a movie, but that would be scary. Pete Davidson says there is only so much you can do. Yeah, right. There's only so much you can do. Edgy American, nice to have you here, Shane. Can't stay tonight, Bob. Got lots of grinding to do. I love it. I love it. I love that video you just put out. Shane just put out a video of him slicing a strawberry that was just minding its own business, and he sliced it so thin you could see the knife through it, but he wasn't holding it with his hand. It just it was pretty impressive. So yeah, get back to the grinding, man. That sounds awesome. And Shane, thanks for saying hi. Doug Bull says, Bob, if you decide to give that partisan a new home, let me know. You know it, Doug. You know it, sir. Lady Picture Show 72 says, it's a knife night in Clarksville, Tennessee. I love it. It's a knife night in Clarksville. It's same in here in the glorious land of Anandale. Mew, nice to have you here, Mew. Well, if the shit hits the fan, the zombies are going to get empressed. Nice. Yes, or back ripped. Or tonight, I have this out with me. This is the Brave Hawk Forge mistress. No, it's not mistress. Something feminine. I think it's French. Now I've forgotten what it's called. It is the beautiful lady, but it is a really nice tomahawk. Feels so good in hand. Feels so good just to swing around, but it's also apparently a great thrower. I just don't want to throw it. Though that's what it's built for, and it's easy to rehaft and the whole 9 yards, but something about it, I just don't want to throw it. But yes, they will get empressed. Of course, he was talking about the Empress Tomahawk from Wingard Wearables. It's their Spontoon Hawk. A Spontoon Hawk is, instead of a cutting blade like an axe, the Tomahawk has a stabbing blade more like a dagger. And the one from Wingard Wearables, the Empress, which is currently by my on my bedside table, that one is shaped like a megalodon tooth. So, several million years of, or many million years of evolutionary history can't be wrong. Deplorable NYC Prepper says, being prepared for me, finding new ways to store water and food and keep the shortwave and GMRS going. GMRS, what is that? GMRS A and B. Deplorable, I always thought about, I don't know where you are in New York City, but I always thought about how would I get off Manhattan? Excuse me. I'd have to build a raft, because you're not going to cross a bridge or go through a tunnel. So you'd have to like float your way over. James Hart says, oh, that tomahawk sort of looks like a Francesca, a throwing. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that is what it's called. A Francesca by Brave Hawk Forge. If anyone's near a computer, oh, you're all by a computer. Brave Hawk Forge, great dude. And I was just playing with, I had him make he makes the small tomahawks for kids, and I had him make my daughter's one, and then he engraved their names in the handle. I was just playing with those. But yeah, this is a Francesca. You're right. Thank you. And man, see all of the combined knowledge here. I love that you just popped up with that. James Hart said, GMR's General Mobile Radio Service. Okay. Is that anything like ham? I remember my friend's dad used to be into ham radios, and I know my father-in-law, before he was my father-in-law, was into ham radios. May he rest in peace. Have a Knife Day says, just got back from the gym. Bastin, have a Knife Day. Good to have you here. And I was wearing your shirt. Wasn't today. It was yesterday under my work shirt. I was like, that's right. I know it's there. Just got back from the gym. Bastinelli Gecko was the carry for that portion of the day. Very nice. Bastinelli anything, and I'm won over. I love his stuff. I used to do the fire abatement for a living when I lived in the mountains. I have to go pack for the truck ham radio. I have a go pack for the truck and ham radio. Gotcha. I have a go pack in my car. My wife has one in her car. We don't have a ham radio. Certainly not. That is some more robust form of non-cellular communication is definitely in order. Have a Knife Day says, I have an assortment of buck fixed blades. Yes. A set of medieval shears. Oh. Leatherman food poncho with liner with 550 cord to make a shelter, water purification, first aid, etc. Very cool. I just discovered bank line for myself, and I just got some, and I like it a lot. It's not a replacement for paracord, but I think it's an awesome accompaniment for certain other tasks. It seems. I haven't used it yet, but I've been playing around with it, and it seems like you could do a lot of cool stuff with it, including light a fire. Todd Carr says, stuff went down. Have enough food to last a month. Water 2 weeks, but I know where to get fresh water and filter myself. Yeah, we have a big 55-gallon water storage unit in this basement that we got when we first moved in here, and I'm glad I got it then, because I was so excited to be living in a house after living in New York City in an apartment for so long, and then in an apartment when we moved here to look for houses, that I was like, that was one of the first things I did. So I had this big blue thing. It's filled up with 55 gallons of water. You got to put some antifungal stuff in there. I'm sure 12 years hence, it's probably nasty in there, but still have draw it out and filter it in your Perky water filter, and you're good to go. Have a Knife Day says, at least three ways to make fire. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I could see that, and like many different ways. Like, I've been seeing all these cool videos about how to make waterproof matches, homemade waterproof candle torches, things that you could just have, and that's the kind of stuff I wanted. So you might be able to spark a fire, but if you don't have something, for me personally, because you see guys, I haven't done that, and I can't count on that. So if I could spark onto something that's going to catch easily and is waterproof, like these wax things and stuff. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I like that too. 3 ways to light fire and different things to light on fire as tinder to start a bigger fire. James Hart says, ham radio is nice if you know what you're doing. Ham radio is nice if you know what you're doing. I've been a licensed ham since 2016. It's okay for a comm, but you need a good antenna and power supply. That's right. I remember my best friend until about high school or something, but his dad was into ham radio, and they had a giant tower in the backyard. Like, I don't know, I'd say it was like 60 feet. It was tall. It was tall. It was like not even tempting to climb tall, and it was triangular in cross section. It was cool. Doug Bull says, I believe there were 2 types of Francescans. The shorter version had an 8 to 10 inch handle. Okay, this must be what, 13? Oh, this is, what am I talking? This is 16. No, 18. This is 18 butts to nuts here, and then I mean, even counting the part over the top. All right, I've said enough about that. Now I think I want to say something about my pocket check. Let's do that right now.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
Been getting a lot of mileage out of my flippers with my thumb. It's been, I know, every week I'm giving you the update on my thumb. Now, I feel like, well, the scar is mostly healed here, and I feel more feeling returning to this portion of my thumb, this whole front part, and it hurts. Everything hurts. It's very raw. I don't know, because I didn't do anything to that, so I think I did do some nerve damage. I think it's coming back online or whatever, and hopefully, all that. And actually the comments from Doug and others here have really kept me optimistic that this new painful portion of the healing of this thumb is a good sign. I'm just coming through. So but right now thumb plates and thumb studs aren't feeling the best, so I've been carrying flippers. And today I just grabbed this. I love this knife. So thin, so sharp. This is the Crystal Aurora, designed by Ivan Bragnets and produced by Crystal, which I guess is Belarusian or maybe just Russian. I know that he's from Belarus, Ivan Bragnets, but I'm not exactly sure where the knife is produced. Could be China. I don't know. But it is awesome. I got this from Levan of Knife Nuts podcast, and from Russia with Levan, his company. He was importing knives from Russia that was unfortunately interrupted. But this is one of the knives he was selling then, and I think he's slowly coming back online. I think I saw another knife being offered by him, but I can't be for certain. This is a great knife. Oh, one thing I want to show about this. The jimping all the way up and down the side of this. It's texture, but it's basically like jimping, and it's on the clip. So it's a very sure in hand knife, though it's thin and though the flipper is small. I never feel at danger of like running onto the blade or anything. You feel very locked in with the texture on this knife. I love this knife, and it's a classic Yakut. Is that what it's called? The that Russian knife design with the giant fuller. I think it's called a Yakut, Yakut. So kind of a super modern version of a very traditional knife from that part of the world. All right, next up is the Jack Wolf Knives Benny's clip. Man, the pull on this thing is tremendous. Yeah, I would give this a solid 8.5 on my totally arbitrary scale. Salud. I really am loving this version of the Benny's clip. This one I'm way more precious with, though, than the first one. The first one I got in the black micarta, which was a very dusty micarta. You know what I'm talking about. Just kind of gray. Never, even when I oiled it, it didn't really quite look black. So I decided to dye it. And I dyed it to make it maroon, dark maroon, and so much nicer now. Or it's just, I like it better now. So that's my more rough and tumble one. Not that I'm rough and tumble with it. It still lives in its little leather slip, all precious and protected. But still, that's kind of my feelings about it. This one I'm very kind of gingerly with, and also because just because opening it, I'm a little wary right now for reasons just disclosed. Not about the knife, but about my grip strength on this here. So a beautiful triple fullered bolsters. I love this thing with the hand rub satin. Oh, speaking of hand rub satin, we got something else to show in a minute. But yeah, in that purple Kieranite, I was saying on the midweek supplemental, it reminds me of Rita Hayworth's curtains, in her boudoir. And of course, I don't mean to speak ill of the dead or anything like that. I love Rita Hayworth, and I thought she was so beautiful and all that. And this kind of looks luxurious, like I kind of think of her. Dwayne Letterman, howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Thank you, Dwayne, for interrupting me when I was being an idiot and talking about Rita Hayworth's curtains, which I've never seen. Have a Knife Day says, did you see the way the new, MJ tactical pipe hawk with a nod to the movie The Patriot? I didn't notice the nod to the movie. Oh, because I think it's called The Patriot, but beautiful. And it's a working pipe too. So I could get my pipe on and then throw it at my enemy if my enemy's coming at me. Ouchie EDC. Howdy, ouchie EDC. Halfway through this pocket check, and actually, I want to just say, put this under here and just say, put #knife, please. #knife. Everyone here, and if you don't even like this knife, don't want it, you could still sell it or give it away as a gift. It would be a very generous gift, as it was a generous gift to this channel by Dave of OG. Has given us a lot of stuff. Ooh, looks like my knife cam froze up. There we go. Dave has given us a lot of stuff here, and we've passed most of it along to you, though every once in a while I will adopt something, like I did the Cold Steel Maximus, for instance. So I want you all to put a hashtag knife, because I want you all to win this. You're like, Bob, we can't all win this, but I want you all to have the chance, man. All right, next up, the Tomashi E. I thought I was going to carry this. I didn't end up carrying it, but it came with me. I do find that this is the best way to carry the Tomashi E from Civivi, and designed by Bob Terzuola. This in the waistband clip, or in the waistband loop, is pretty tight up to the top, so that there's no real side to side movement on it. And with a belt under there, it just fits great. It balances nicely. I guess the blade is very nicely balanced as a fighting knife. So having the sheath like this set up is perfect. It's not handle heavy, so it doesn't drift downward. And it's just short enough, I guess, that it can go straight across my front without popping out on either side. I think a knife too much longer than this would start to extend from the contours of my body, which, by the way, are expanding dreadfully. Yeah, I gotta start doing my sit-ups. But man, I swear I didn't do anything new. Let me just say, it's not like I've started grubbing and pigging out and doing like eating and drinking in a new way. I'm kind of like, old habits die hard for me. So nothing has really changed, except maybe my age, and with age, just God, naturally comes a spare tire, unless I guess maybe unless you work out insanely. And no, Bob, you just have to work out like consistently. And you're like, deny yourself all sorts of food. No, you can eat plenty of delicious foods that you love and be healthy. So I don't know. I have these competing voices, but the Tomashi E is about as big as I can wear front scout. And I love this knife. So this knife is so awesome. Actually, Civivi sent me this knife a year ago or something, and this was definitely one I was going to get anyway, because it's about the only Bob Terzuola I can afford. Though he has been doing some collaborations. I want to get the Fox ATCF for sure. Excuse me. Mark Salva says, first of all, Mark, good to have you here. Mark is shouting at us. Pardon me. If the shit hits the fan while I'm still here, I'm ready to go. Oh man, I'm not ready for you to go, Mark. The world is not my home. I'm just a passing through, waiting to go up to the house. Well, I understand that. We are all in that position, all passing through. But Mark, and I know that's not a cry for help, Mark, but it saddens me to hear you say that. But it's sort of bittersweet, because we all know we're heading in that direction. Yeah. So as long as you can be with us, let's see. And that's what here I'm talking about my belly fat. That's the kind of thing I'm like, man, if I could just get rid of that, I could live another year. Let's squeeze out another year, maybe, hopefully. Okay. Next up, sorry. Don't mean to get into mortality issues here on the show. This is the Pinkerton Broadhead. It's a custom. It's Magna Cut. It's got all the good. It's Magna Cut and GL Hansen and Sons G Carta here, and it's so sweet. It's such a beautiful, sweet little gem, made by the hands of one of my absolute favorite knife designers and makers. And it's interesting because those two worlds for him are slightly different. Like, he designs for companies, mostly folders, though he's done some of knives like this for Kaiser, but mostly folders. He designs them and companies make them, but he hand makes the most beautiful and historically referential EDC and like combat fixed blades. They're just awesome. They're so cool. And I love this one. And it was a gift from him, which makes it even like specialer. That's not a word. More specialer. No. Just special. All right. This is what I had on me. Would you guys carry? Let me know. And and let's get into it. I want to find out, and we'll talk. I'll show you Gentleman Junkie knife, giveaway knife. We'll do all sorts of stuff. But as I put these knives away, I'm going to do a little Patreon plug because I'm about to show you the next Patreon knife. But if you want to help support the show, you can go to Patreon and or just go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon. You could scan the QR code on the screen, and we'll get to the knife. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out a way to segue, put these dangerous instruments away. All right. Okay, so this is the knife I'm giving away right here. This is the I'm sorry, I have a bad habit of calling this the Venom. This is the Mamba 3 from Off Grid Knives. That's a 4-inch Magna Cut blade. That's a titanium handle, titanium frame lock, sunken deep carry pocket clip with this beautiful golf ball texturing that feels so good in hand, except my right thumb. But actually, it's been important. I've been carrying this version of it, the tan and gray version of it, which is the one I am adopting. And it's been good because I can tell it's there with my thumb. Anyway, I love the feedback from and the grip from this, but just a beautiful knife. This is the updated version of the Black Mamba V2, which is the smaller 3-inch version. And then I believe the very first one was a 3¼ inch Wharncliffe like this. But by far, I would say this one here, the Mamba V3, is the best. It's like if you have the where is it? I don't have it. If you have the Enforcer, it is like a luxe version of the Enforcer. It's a little bit thinner. I meant to have it out a little bit thinner. It doesn't have the glass breaker, which extends about a 1/2 inch out from the Enforcer, and it's got a better blade steel. And I mean, CPM Magna Cut as opposed to D2 or 154. So this is definitely the luxurious version. And man alive, I am loving it so far. It is so sharp. To me, off-grid knives are up there, like they're like cold steel, in that when you get an off-grid knife, like it's going to be incredibly sharp. You do know that it's going to be incredibly sharp, and they are made by either Best Tech or one of the places they go in Taiwan to get these made. They're very, very well made knives. This one we're giving away to a Gentleman Junkie. Lucky Gentleman Junkie. And then also which came in the package from Kerry Orifice of Off Grid Knives, is the Bullet V2 EDC bit driver. So this is an updated and improvified version of the one that I have. I love the one that I have. He's included stronger magnets here, so you don't need the O-rings, and the top spins great. Let's check this out. It'll spin forever here. Just let that go while I put this back. So all you got to do is go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon, sign up there, become a Gentleman Junkie, and you will be in the running with roughly 30 other individuals to win this knife. So something I like to tell people is that the odds are good. I think we may have had one person win twice, which is weird, but those are the odds. They're weird. Is that true? Or no. I think someone won a random giveaway like we're doing tonight, and also won a Gentleman Junkie giveaway at a different time because he supports the show. Okay, so here it is. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you here, which is new and different. They have a filler tab on this side. One thing I can say about Kerry, I can say a lot about Kerry. I like the guy and I love his knives, but he listens a lot. And each new version, and he's on version 3 of pretty much all of his knives. Each new version incorporates the kind of improvements people talk about, like sink the deep carry pocket clip in the pocket, in the scale, and make the screws flat so that it's not interrupting or bumming up your shorts or whatever, your pockets. So he listens to different criticisms and really takes them on board. So I love this knife, and I think you will too. So that is the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife for October of 2024. And you'll be seeing this for the next couple of weeks. I'll be showing it off and singing its praises. All right. What time is it? All right. We still have a little time before the random knife giveaway knife. I want to show you this. Enjoying a little whiskey on this evening. So this is the Hogtooth Knives Ruffian. Frankie Frank says, well, today's EDC was the Cold Steel XL Counterpoint. Ooh, excellent. Actually, do you happen to have or know about the gun sight? Always wanted. Oh, yeah, you can get the gun sight. I have seen that available. Look at go to either Chicago Knife Works or Midway USA. I think they both might have it, or I've definitely seen that still on offer with the green handle. I know what you're talking about. The XL Counterpoint is a very cool knife. It's just slightly bulky for me, but I don't have it, and now I think I should. Scotch and Things says, at work, oh, wow, awesome. At work, Miller Brothers T1, home switched to the Giroux Archon. Scotch and Things. Nice to have you here, Scotch and Things. I love your collection. I follow you on Instagram. I see your stuff. And I think it's a real flex to be carrying a Miller Brothers anything. Robert Von Darth, nice to have you here, sir. What would the Hedy Lamarr knife be? Hedy Lamarr. Wait, who's Hedy Lamarr again? I feel like that was a joke and I missed it. Oh, dud. Who's Hedy Lamarr? Remind me. I've heard the name, and sadly, I can't recall. Todd Carr says, Leatherman Surge and accessories. So does that mean like bits for the bit driver? It doesn't have a bit driver on the Surge. Gerber Dime and Shard, Swiss Army Knife Fieldmaster, Cold Steel 8010, the Reich P105Q, Benchmade Mini Freak 5th Pocket, T-Kel Knives Nighthawk, Olight I3T, and Arkfeld UV, Rayvon A3, Forrest Hank. Man, that's nice, Todd. I great carry today. Very, very varied, and I appreciate that. I wanted to ask you. Oh wait, Forrest Hank. Someone said, who was it? I think maybe it was Tim's School of Fish, or maybe someone else had. Oh, okay. Terrible story. I will rethink it. See if I can find the video. It was a funny thing saying that Hanks are like male diapers or something. I can't remember. It was something funny that I agreed with. Nebula, nice to have you, but I'm not calling you a diaper wearer. Nebula Deep. #knife for Stacy. Oh, Nebula, it's coming your way. I can feel it. Or it could be coming your way. Have a knife day. But everyone, #knife. Have a Knife Day says, my wife and I made it out to Natchez, Mississippi on Monday and avoided Hurricane Helen. Thank God. Attended the Antique Bowie Knife Show. Wow. That sounds awesome. Antique Bowie Knife Show. Split and Slices says, Byron says, carrying the Rosecraft Blades Briar Patch Jack and the off-grid Cayman XL RD. I love that knife. The RD stands for Red Dawn. That's the red and black G10 on that model. Pete Davidson says, still waiting to find someone worthy of the Drever. I got one in trade. It doesn't fit my needs, but it's such a great knife. Olight has some surprisingly good stuff. They really do. Wait, Pete Davidson, this doesn't fit your hand? You must be a giant. Well, I do have medium hands that can sometimes squeeze into a small glove, not a work glove, but like a small like leather assassin's glove, stretch it real tight. But anyway, this has a pretty generous handle. I think that Pete probably has, some big hands. So he is right. It is a great knife, and he's got one too, trying to unload. So if you're down there, maybe hit him up. Maybe you could work out a trade. Here I am yentaing a trade in Australia for 2 people to trade pocket knives. How my life is taking unexpected turns. Doug Bull says, Bob, I got impatient for my thumb to heal. Doc said basically healing around 6 weeks, but nerve restoration might be 10. I really got impatient. Yeah, I'm in that phase. I'm like, it hurts. Like I can't enjoy opening my Sebenza. Oh, first world problems for sure, but I mean, still, it's all diet, says Robert Von Darth. Yeah, I'm thinking so. And timing, and probably shouldn't drink alcohol. I know that when I stopped drinking alcohol for a year, 2 years ago, I guess that was about, I don't think I was complaining about the softness in the middle. Ouchie EDC says, welcome to the thick side. Yeah, welcome to the thick side. Thank you, sir. It's good to be here. Well, that pasta my wife made tonight was awesome. That was awesome, and it was creamy. But we don't eat like that mostly. And my wife has a rule: we have to have one fish a week, and we have to have one vegetarian meal a week. And I'm fine with that. I used to be a vegetarian. It's all good. Northern Knife says, I just picked up a new Microtech MSI. Ooh, nice. This is my second MSI and fourth Microtech manual. I love the manuals. That's me saying. They are really doing a good job executing their new manual folder direction there. I agree 100%. I love it. And they were always there with the SOCOM series. But I like that they've broadened it. For a while, it was the SOCOM was the kind of the unique one of the bunch, and now it kind of seems 50-50. Or like they still have a soup, like their bread and butter is still like all their awesome automatics, but they have like a growing Lexus business of excuse me, manual knives. Pardon me. Have a Knife Day says, the voices is what got me into the gym after work. Get to the gym, fatty. And now you get to eat one cookie, fatty. But you better go tomorrow. Jerry C says, hello, Bob. I hope you're doing well, brother. Well, Jerry C, it's nice to have you. I love that. That is an awesome picture. Robert Von Dar says, how beautiful Mamba. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Beautiful Mamba. Yeah. Dibs says, split and slices. Yeah, man, it is awesome. OG Blade, today's carry, Best Tech Castic, Protect Tactical Response, woo, Green-Eyed Monster coming out, and Agent 001, light day, but a fine day, I would say. Lady Picture Show 72 says, woohoo, wahoo, nice one. Well, thank you. I'm sorry you all had to hear me, my voice crack, right? So sorry you had to hear my voice crack there. AJ says, TCal, double agent, double-edged. What am I talking about? TCal, double-edged Agent 001 in the pocket. Yes, AJ. Nicely done, sir. MDV +1 from, Scallywag. They make some cool stuff in another, and a Micro Jimbo in the fifth pocket. Awesome. Just in case you have to go to Chicago, DC, or New York City. But what's the Scallywag one? Is that the one that has the heart-shaped kind of finger loop? I'm curious about that knife. Mark Stallman, good to have you here. Hello, junkies, he says. Hello, right back at you. Gus Beck says, great carry, Bob. Love that Terzuola. Yeah, me too, man. Today, I carried the new, Michael Ziba custom S3 Ostats. I know Michael Ziba. I love him, and I think I know the S3. Is that the clip point, kind of harpoony clip point? What a cool... He's cool, man. I don't know him, but I mean, his knives are cool. He started off doing kitchen knives, and I know that's still a big part of what he makes. But his folders are so cool, and I think he's in Brooklyn, New York. And the TRM Shadow, that is another cool one. A lot of people have been carrying that recently. I don't know if they just did a drop or something, but it's been catching my eye. Also in the mail, got the ZT0562 tie and the Manix 2XL. That's so funny. All right, I was over on Mike's website, Mike of Northern Knives. I was at Northern Knives. They have an exchange program. I got knives to exchange, so I was browsing today at lunch, and yeah, it's awesome. I brought it up because of, can you go back, Jim? I'm sorry. It's like, this is the equivalent of walking back into the room because you forgot why you got up and walked in. TRM Shadow. I was on, thank you, Jim. I was on Northern Knives browsing, and I started looking seriously at a ZT0562, but I was like, I've already had one. And if I'm going to trade a bunch of knives to get a nice knife, or trade a knife to get another knife, it's not going to be one I already had. So anyway, but go check out Northern Knives exchange program. It looks not program. They got tons of knives that you can exchange for, and it's awesome. Ouchie EDC says, Bob, any suggestions for pocket fixie for defense? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, well, okay. Pocket fixie for self-defense. We talked a lot about, well, I don't know what your budget is. So, Jim, could you look down here at this knife cam? I want to go get something that I want to show. And as we do, we also have this. I want to show a copy of version of this. So here are, I'm not sure what your budget is, sir. But the reason I showed you the ruffian, I'm going to show you an amazing picture of a new one that Matt Chase made. But I have that out for now. Let me put this away because I'm going to show you these, and I'll do this in a minute. All notes to self. Okay, so you've seen, we talked a lot about this one. This is from Fisher Blade Company. This is a special version of it that I grabbed, but I have two versions. This is one of the unicorn ones, but this is definitely exactly what you said. This is intended for pocket carry only. This would not be good in the waistband. Pocket carry only, as you can see from that drop clip there. And then this was designed and what do you call it? Workshopped and redesigned and all that to be a pocket fixed blade intended for self-defense. If it has any incidental EDC, that's accidental, according to the designer. And so I think that's cool. And I love knives for that purpose. This is an expensive knife, so I'm not sure what your budget is, but Fisher Blade Company makes the Beckwith Covert, and it's a very good in the pocket fixed blade knife. Another pricey one is this dedicated in the pocket fixed blade knife. This is the Amtac Northman, and this was a gift from my father, and it is awesome. It is really awesome. It's got a built-in ferro rod. It's got a built-in sort of place where you can hide stuff back here. Drop clip, intended for created by Bill Rapier, which is a great name. I mean, come on. Bill Rapier, who's like a former SEAL and wanted to make a pocket fixed blade knife because he doesn't trust folders. You know that story. And he wanted it to be just as ready in the outdoors as it is in a fight. And this is what he came up with. This is the regular version. They do an XL version, which is what I would recommend. Pretty much, I would just recommend that. This is a pretty small handle. I knew it would be. When my dad asked me which one I wanted, I went for this because I knew in the pocket I would want it smaller, and I can just get my hand on there. And like I said, I don't have big giant hands, so if you go for the Northman, you might think of the XL, but this is also a very expensive knife, and this one is foreign produced. This one is made in the United States in Montana. This one is made no one knows where, out of M390, or I should say they don't divulge who makes this. But I do know that they're putting out a bunch of scales for it. Last one here is also American made, and this one is the Combatant by TKL Knives. This makes an awesome in pocket carry knife, though I did have it set up like that for a while, but I had the clip on the other side and I had it extended from these two things. But you, just like with all in the pocket carry, you have to be careful when you draw the knife that you're not cutting your pants. So this one is a great knife, and he meaning Tim Kell has reprofiled the front part of the blade. It's a little more of a spear point now, a little pointier, a little less belly at the tip. And then he also has one called the Adversary coming out. That is a beautiful Wharncliffe on this handle. The handle is just enough for a 4-finger grip. Tim says the same for him, and I know that his hands are bigger than mine, so he can get 4 fingers on this, but you don't have a whole bunch sticking out the back to get caught up on anything or to possibly be leveraged out of your hand in a tussle or any of that. So I do know that this is less expensive than both of these options by half with this one. This is a very expensive. The thing's like 400 and it's like $425 or something like that, I believe. It comes with a trainer and another sheath, which is great. But so these are three that I could suggest, and the list is, I guess the list goes on and on. There are lots of them, but those are three that just come to mind. Now, I would say, just looking over here to my right, God, dust. I only notice it when we do this show. Knives by Nuge does a lot of cool stuff too, and this is pretty small for pocket carry, but he makes a larger version of this, and I've seen people pocket carry it, and he offers a leather sheath for pocket carry, so it has a similar clip to these discreet carry concept clips. All three of these are DCC clips, similar to that, but attached to leather sheaths that go in your pocket. And actually, I might like that more than Kydex, just for an EDC. But for self-defense, I guess I prefer the Kydex. So long answer to that question, but those are three you might be interested in checking out. And in checking them out, it will probably take you down a internet rabbit hole, and you'll see a lot of other options. Someone recently sent me, I think Kubi has something out that might fit in this category. So if you wanted to spend a lot less than this and just want to try it out because you're not sure if you want pocket fixed carry, look at some of the other brands, because I know they're releasing a lot more fixed blade knives. And you can always get a small fixed blade knife and then just get a DCC clip and use one of the side grommets. This is permanently mounted, but they don't have to be. James Hart, no pocket knife today. I had yard work to do, so I carried the Condor Hudson Bay knife. I love that knife. It's a great big blade and good for light chopping. Yes, I love mine, and I just recently was talking about how I took down a whole hedgerow we had when we moved in here with that knife, basically that and an axe, but I mostly ended up using that knife the most. Mark Stallman says Hedy was a smoking hot golden era actress. Okay. Hedy Lamarr, right? Hedy Lamarr. Okay, because I was talking about Rita Hayworth, right? Okay. Hedy Lamarr. Thank you. Pete Davidson. Oh, Mos Eisley. You know that R&B musician, Mos Eisley. Well, I learned that that's also the name of the cantina in Star Wars. It's funny. Mari, my wife said something about Mos Eisley. I think she said something like DC is like Mos Eisley. It's a wretched hive of scum and villainy. And I was like, Mos Eisley, isn't that a musician? And she's like, no. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's a musician. It's like, no. I'm like, no, and then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, it's the cantina from Star Wars. So, kind of a weird conflation. Pete Davidson, rainy day carry for me, K390 Endura. I love that. No. I'm thinking of, well, I do like K390, but I was thinking of the new maroon handled one. Looks really cool. I can't remember what that steel is though. PD1. PD, not BD1. Okay, sorry. K390 Endura with titanium everything. Warm in the cockles of my heart. Victorinox Compact. I love that with titanium plus scales. I got to say, the Victorinox Compact, though I'm not as crazy about their combination tool on there that combines the bottle opener and anyway, that is my favorite, or that is my most carried Victorinox. I love that Victorinox, the Compact. Olight Arkfeld in titanium. Okay, so all titanium today, and a big iDesign bolt pen in titanium. Match it. Yeah. Pete, I love it. You're a gentleman and a scholar, sir. Matching your titaniums. It's like matching your leather shoes to your leather belt. Any man who would do less is less than a man. AJ says the Fisher Blades Beckwith Covert comes out again tomorrow at Ouch EDC and can be paired with a trainer. That's awesome, man. I'm glad that you had your finger on the pulse. That's awesome. El Cap Addict. Good to have you here, El Cap Addict. The Spyderco Matriarch 2 is one extreme example. Yeah, I love the Matriarch. The Matriarch 2. Yeah. That's a beauty. And I am not a huge fan of how Spyderco depicts, for lack of a better term, how they interpret the Emerson wave on most of their blades, but I love how it looks on the Matriarch too. It's just a cool looking knife. It's so weird and menacing looking. But I do find myself not I have the Black Talon from Cold Steel, and it is the same, similar edge shape, and it is so wicked. But I find that I just am not inclined to carry it because you really cannot stab with it. If you have built in any sort of muscle memory based around thrust attacks, I think it's going to leave you out in the cold. It would be awesome if you've trained a lot with Americanized Tontos and you use that here. Do I have one here? See, my voice keeps cracking. Just showing my youth. I don't think I have one here at all. I don't have an American Tonto on the table at all. We will use the Tamashii E and pretend. Okay, so pretend that this is an American Tonto and you have the secondary point right there. A lot of times that point is used percussively as if it's a drumstick, and you're using that secondary point to hit the person and put nasty triangular shaped holes in them. Well, that's how you would use the tip of the Black Talon, like in a pecking motion, because it's got a beak shaped. Yeah, you'd have to peck with it to stab, but you couldn't do this kind of thrust. Anyway, Robert Von Dar says, know any knife makers that make an excellent Bauernwehr knife? Bauernwehr knife. So that means, what is that? Forest knife? Bauer is tree. Is that right? Wait, Tannenbaum. Bauerwehr knife. I'm betting that's like is that a forest knife? What does that mean? Bauer. I'm afraid I don't know that. I'm embarrassed. I'm a knife guy and I studied German in high school. Oh yeah. Okay, let's do this. Thank you, Jim. All right. We got this. This is the O Knife Driver G10, Contour G10. We got D2. We have blue anodized highlights. So beautiful. Actually, I'm not sure if that's anodization, but we've got blue highlights, deep carry pocket clip, lots of weight reduction. Feels great in hand. And it doesn't fit Pete's gigantic mitts, but I think with the choil, most human individuals can make it work. I'm just playing. I've never met Pete, but this one just doesn't feel comfortable in hand, and I'm just assuming it's a size thing, but comfortable is subjective. But in this case, really, really nice, sort of Warncliffe sheep's foot blade, but that point is center line. So if you need to poke it into anything, it's going to do well, and you're not going to be confused about where that tip is. Great jimping on this thumb ramp here, and awesome action. And this is my left hand. Look at that. Awesome. Catch up, iPhone. I'm using my iPhone as the knife cam because I just love the way it takes pictures. I love the way it looks. Little swedge on the front. All right, Jim, let's do this. Let's see how many people have put hashtag knife in and see who wins this. And I will send this off tomorrow. I've gotten in a good sending schedule, habit, whatever. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. We're homing in. Homing. Split and slices, Byron Kennedy. All righty, my man. This will be coming to you. I believe I have your address. Awesome. This is the O Knife Driver, and it is headed to Split and Slices. So you might be seeing this on Split and Slices channel sometime in the near future. High flat grind on this, thin and slicey. I didn't mention that. You're going to dig this knife. I think this would make an excellent work knife if you're not a lanyard guy. There's no lanyard hole. And that is upsetting. No, that's not that upsetting. But I like the option. Or a lanyard post. I always appreciate a post. Just give me a post. That's all I need. Just show me that you care. All right. Before I get to the hobo kit, I want to show you this. Craig Vincent says LE titanium AD10 in 3V, Vaquero serrated, SR1 light Tonto, CMB Predator, CMB Predator, Rat 1 in S35VN, the Hedgehog. I love the Hedgehog, and I dropped it on its tip. Dang it. Rough Rider 8-inch Stockman, very nice. AD 20.5, Northern Knives, colorful felt. That's right. That's right. I just sent that to you. Deep dive courtesy of TNK and Northern Knives. Craig, so happy you had that on you. Did you have it in a leather slip, or are you just freeballing it with that beautifully anodized thing? And no judgments here either way. That thing will look cool. Actually, would probably look cool with some snail trails on it too, like it's an artifact. You know, I'm into how the last Jack Wolf knife that I got looks like an artifact. Not this one, but the one before it, the Venom Jack. Pete says, no, I'm not huge, just picky. Gotcha. Oh, I'm left-handed. Don't like thumb studs, and my main folder needs to be longer than 3.5 inches in blade length. 3 strikes for the driver. Still a great knife, just not for me. That is, Pete, that is like a main frustration for me, and a saving point is that I have some size things, you know, like it's got to be between 3.5 and 4, and I'm if it's a design I love, I'll go for it. But I hate when I see a design that I really love that's smaller, and I'm like, I just know I won't enjoy it. Thanks for the plug, Bob. Oh, sure thing, man. No, I won't enjoy it, but at the same time, it's saved me a lot of money. So I'm with you. Great knife, and can't wait to get it out. Get it out. See, like, that's what I got to do. I got all these awesome knives that were sent to me by Dave, and I just got to get them out. Get them out. They're like temptations. This is like strength training in the spiritual realm here. Jeff W says, made my first Damascus this week. It's only 7 layers, but it's a start. That's awesome, dude. 1095 and 15 and 20. 1095 and 15 and 20 go beautifully together. This is that combination in a pattern weld Damascus by Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives. But look at how nicely contrasting those 2 steels are here. 15 and 20 and 1095. Congratulations, man. That's a hell of an accomplishment. That's quite amazing. It's pretty cool too. I mean, so I've fashioned some knife shaped objects that have been professionally heat treated. So I've made a few knives, and that feels amazing. But I would imagine making the steel feels even more amazing because it's like elemental. It's kind of like your I don't know. You're doing something natural. I don't know. I was going to say it's like you're a god, but I don't mean it like that. But you're bringing something more elemental than a tool into being. You're bringing, it's like meta. It's very meta, man. And I just think it's cool. Gus Beck says, yes, Bob, the Zeba S3 is a 3.5-inch harpoon clip point, compound ground hollow with a flat ground tip. Nice. Titanium frame lock flipper with perfect detent, fit and finish. I am totally stoked on it, dude. That sounds beautiful. I saw one Zeba knife, not in person, and I'm not sure if it was one or if it was a run of them, but the backspacer, it was so creepy. I don't even know if it was so well done though. It was like the whole backspacer was like skulls jammed in between, like little tiny, beautifully sculpted skulls, jammed in between these 2 scales, like trying to get out, and it looked so cool. But I don't know, that I'm not a skull guy, but I thought that was quite beautiful and masterfully done. And I believe Michael Zeba started, and maybe still is, a jeweler. Pete Davidson says, love the pocket carry fixed blades, but the sheaths with the clips always worry me. I have never had one that's 100% reliable except the Ulti clip. Static cords and belt loops work better for me. Yeah, the Ulti clip, these DCC clips, I like them better than the Ulti clips, but the Ulti clips are also quite reliable. But I don't know how he tempers these, but I know that it's one guy that owns Discrete Carry Concepts. I know that they have blown up. I know it's a company of way more than one, but I know that the gentleman who owns it, I have heard through the grapevine, is takes it very seriously and is somewhat secretive about how these things are tempered. But the spring steel it's incredible, and so the spring strength is very strong in the DCC clip. So I would suggest you try them. Just check them out. And they've got a billion different offerings. I mean, by a billion, I mean not even close to a billion, but a lot of different varieties in terms of hole spacing, length of the clip, length of the back part of the clip, and all that stuff. So check them out. Discrete Carry Concepts. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Good to have you here, Angry Tom. Better late than never. Holy smokes. What a good day, evening, everyone. What a day. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally messed that up. Better late than never. Holy smokes. What a day. Good evening, everyone. Oh, man. Angry Tom, I can feel the sigh. I know what it's like. We all know what it's like to have one of those days. So I'm glad your day has taken a turn for the light in terms of, we're just talking knives. Stephen, nice to have you here, Stephen. Bastinelli Piqueur for everyday deep, for extra deep carry. What is the Piqueur? Which one is that? Piqueur. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that, but oh, that's the ice pick. Isn't that the ice pick? See, yeah, the ice pick. Jim should have that. Jim should have one of those because he's got an ice pick collection, and it's a Bastinelli. That's a cool thing. And I just saw he had one. He had one on his Instagram that was this beautiful full purple Sukamaki wrapped, so like ray skin and cord wrapped cylinder, for lack of a better. And you pull it apart, and it's got the pickaxe or the ice pick in there. Very, very, very cool. AJ says, and get a trainer and you can practice deployment for sure. Yeah, that is a good idea. And here's a bit of advice that I don't follow. But if you're going to carry a knife for self-defense, it's probably a good idea to carry the same knife for self-defense, just so you're used to it. I, of course, do not do that. And I say, of course, because the variety in my fixed carry, fixed carry EDC collection is very, very tempting. So I carry different knives all the time, but I've actually kind of settled into the Agent 001 or the Nova too. I mean, it's no surprise, but I do the other stuff too. I carry the other knives too. I've been carrying a lot of Pikal lately. Anyway, Angry Tom says, today I have my QSP Gorilla. Which one's the Gorilla? A lot of QSPs named after animals. Ouchie EDC says, thank you, Bob, and others for suggestions. I definitely going to do my homework. Yeah. Oh, you know who's a great person to check out for this very topic is Javon's Knife Flicks. Jay Evans, he goes by Javon, Juvon. He has a lot of and features a lot of kind of small pocket carry fixed blade EDC knives. Definitely check them out. Though I'm pretty sure most of them are not for self-defense, but I'm pretty damn sure all of them could be used for that in the rare case that comes up. Have a Knife Day says, I have my first Joker fixed blade Bowie. Right. Nice. Coming this weekend. A 9.75 inch with crown stag handle. Sorry to sound so, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Loving the stag handles, but this is my first crown handle. Very cool. When I got my Kudaman Bowie, that's also a Spanish knife company, and Joker, and I think Joker and Kudaman are somehow related or share some. The Spanish knives, they all use that molybdenum steel, and they have similar patterns. And like I said, I think Joker and I think they might be related. But anyway, I think that's awesome. I think it'll fit perfectly into your collection of awesome Bowie knives. And I can't wait to see the stag handle. I'm always very trepidatious about crown stag handles because I've held some that have giant, like, because it's at the crown, it's where the horn, the antler thing, the hoof, where it's extra wide, So if you're holding your Bowie knife like this, that always gives me pause. But I have no doubt that the Joker knife will be sweet. The Joker will have that under control. So I can't wait to see that, man. And if you want to see it, go check out Have a Knife Day. He's got YouTube and Instagram channel, right? Well, I know he's got a YouTube channel with great videos, and I'm pretty sure he's on Instagram. Anyway, check him out. Doug Bull says, Bob, had to drive out of state today, not knowing the laws or ordinances on knife carry, had a small police pepper spray to avoid any possible issues. Doug, I got to say, this is what I do. Download, just go to the App Store on your phone and download the Knife Rights app. It's called the Knife Rights app. I can't remember what it's called. It's super easy. I mean, when you pop it open, all you do is either point to the state you're going to, or you type it in, and boom, it pops up. And it's not laws. You're not reading laws. It has a graph, a bar graph, basically, or something sort of like that. And across the top, it's like legal, illegal, sometimes legal, or not near schools, or something like that. And then it's a list of all of these different knives and weapons. And if it's red, you can't carry it. And it's a great way, because sometimes I go into DC, sometimes I go to Baltimore, or places on the East Coast. Legal Blade app. Thank you, Jim. It's called the Legal Blade app. It's free. It's dead simple to use. Like, I'm not a big, this sounds like my age, but I'm not a huge app user of, I guess that's not true, but I'm not constantly looking for new complicated apps. You will love it. Legal Blade app. Everyone should download it. It's from Knife Rights. And if anyone knows, it's Knife Rights. And they have it broken down so you don't have to read the law and try and figure out the legalese. You can just see, oh, I want to carry my dirk to Baltimore. Can I carry my dirk? Oh, no dirks in Baltimore? Okay. I want to carry, my knuckle dusters. Oh, can't carry that either. So it even includes knuckle dusters and some other knife adjacent weaponry. Tools. You're allowed to carry, oddly enough, in Baltimore, you can carry a Warhammer, because you can claim it's for work. This is an old cold steel Warhammer. You can tell it's got the smooth pole, which I always kind of wished I had waited and got the one. Now they have a groove that goes this way and a groove that goes this way. And of course, those, or any sort of texturing on your pole, like on a roofing hammer, that grabs onto stuff. And if you're hitting someone with a helmet, bonk, like another knight in shining armor, this will glance off it. But if you have some sort of texture there, it'll bite into it, and all of the force will be transferred into that helmet. So, yeah. So, Legal Blade app, check it out. Okay. Dion Page says, hello, hello, Dion. Hello, King Junkie Jim, and all you junkies. I'm late, but I'm here. How's everyone doing tonight? Everyone's doing great, Dion. Too bad you're late, because you didn't win this. But a great guy, Byron, won it. So maybe next time we'll be giving away a lot of knives in the coming weeks, as we do like this, just a random giveaway. In addition to the kind of fancier, nicer Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway, because I'm flooded. I am surrounded by generosity, flooded by knives, by OG Blade reviews, by Dave. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, Dave, for that, as always. Gus Beck says, Bob, I'll send you my Terzuola OG. Ooh, if you think you'd like to check it out. It's the new ATCF double black micarta variant from Fox. It's so nice. Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to check it out. If you're ready to part with it, if the honeymoon phase has, I don't mean to part with it permanently. I mean, if you're ready to not have it in your pocket. Sometimes I get a knife, I'm so psyched about it. You should check it out. as soon as I'm done like crushing on it, in months hence. So if it's good, I would love to. I'd love to check it out, and I'd love to get one for myself. Are they? Did they just like come out and get sold out like immediately? James Moore, nice to have you here, James. Just got home from dinner. Lobster Thursday at the Fish Bar restaurant. How cool. I love lobster, and I haven't had it in a long time, actually. First time I had it was in Maine, at a place right on the coast, southern coastal Maine, followed up by blueberry pie. You had your Lispect, another love David Lispect's knives. And not for nothing, he's just a cool dude. I rode an elevator with him, and I was a little starstruck, I gotta say. With Hamon and with uni carbon fiber scales with me. Hamon. So you've got the beautiful blade, the Hamon line on the blade. Didn't need to use it on the lobster though. What did you have with your lobster? I'm curious. I'm jealous more than curious. I could eat a lobster. I could eat a lobster right now, and the butter. And then I think I like biscuits with lobster though. I don't know if that's served, but it would be in my restaurant. Pete Davidson says, my main knife has to be long enough and thin enough to slice a whole tomato. If you can do that, it's long enough to do anything I can ask of my chef's knife or Bowie if isn't available. Let me read that second. If it can do that, it is long enough to do anything I can ask of it. My chef's knife or Bowie isn't available. Okay, I got you. Yeah, right. You got to be able to, with your folding knife, be able to kind of handle the chores you might want with your fixed blade. I get that. Craig Vincent says, I evicted my Rough Rider cotton sampler from its leather slip and kicked it to the curb. Deep diving needs himself a parking spot. That's freaking awesome. See a cotton sampler. I like the cotton sampler because of its weirdness, and it kind of looks like a scalpel, but I'm like, did people really use this? And I guess they did. My 001 trainer doubles as a butter knife. That's awesome. I need to get a 001 trainer. Jason Cosby says, awesome podcast, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Jason. Thanks for coming, and thanks for the nice comment. Have a Knife Day says, Facebook too. Oh, okay. Yeah. Have a Knife Day is on Facebook also. James, I was like, huh? And this happens a lot. James Hart says, I have a Voyager drop point with me. I love the Voyager drop point, and I wish they would put the jimping that they put on that on all the others. James, what do you think about that? And the Voyager clip point with 5.5-inch blade, which would be a wonderful candidate for some jimping. And the thumb stud works great on both of them. You know what's cool about the Voyager, especially the large? I haven't done this with the smaller ones, but the Voyager 5.5, if I carry them in my right back pockets, if I'm carrying jeans, when I pull that out, if I twist it counterclockwise, I can get the rather proud thumb stud to grab onto my pocket, and you can wave that knife open without a thumb stud. I wouldn't do it too much because it probably jack up your pants, but I mean that's the nature of the wave, baby. Robert Von Dar says, I carry the Raja 2 for self-defense. Yikes, man. Oh, jeez. The shearing power from that knife is amazing, and then the leverage that you can get going all the way back on that handle. Doug Bull says, Bob, suggestion. When carrying for self-defense, carry in the same location for muscle memory. The same as for police fire. Yes. Yep. Yeah, and I don't live by that because right now I have it over here. Kramer Custom Voodoo. But I started carrying appendix, and that kind of went all right. But what I'm loving the most now is the horizontal front carry. And yeah, Doug, I know, and that's kind of a nagging thought that has always been with me. If you're really serious about carrying something for self-defense, A, it should probably be the same thing all the time, and B, it should always be in the same place. But then, like I said, I'm tempted by the fruit of another. Split and Slices says, all right, guys and dolls, got to cut out for an early Friday cabinet job deadline. Thanks, Bob and Jim, for the live. And your knife is coming. Bye, all. Byron, have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend and crush that cabinet job. Figuratively. Thanks for the info, Bob. I appreciate it, says Doug. Doug, always a pleasure. Stephen Clayton Jr., good to have you here, Steve. Stephen. Rem Alliance, Xiphos, Scourge. Rem Alliance, Xiphos. And the Scourge, this is a new one? So these are two from Rem Alliance? Is that? Okay. I need to look that up. Every week I'm like, I think I know what that is. And now I know I don't know what that is because I was thinking of Colonel Blades, and that's not that. Okay, TKL Knives, Raider, Taylor's Ridge, Agent 001, Agent 002, Agent 003, Combatant. See, he carries a Combatant. TS-87, FLN, only one this time, Guardian, Night Guard 2.0, which is pretty sweet. Night Stalker, Combat Grade, Accomplice, Gideon 3, and the Nighthawk. So 15 TKL knives on your person. And these are on his person. I met him in person, and somehow he carries all these, and it's not ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't look like a movie character, festooned with knives. Though I wouldn't care if he did. I would think that's cool too. Nighthawk, Wingard Wearables. Wingard Wearables Micro Dick Pick. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's the small version of this. This is his pick. He calls it the Dick Pick. And man, this is this one really is confidence in hand. I mean, if you hold this thing like this, and punch with it, or you could do this. Of course, this is that aspect is only one small thing. This is meant to be a multi-tool. It's got all sorts of different surfaces that you can use, and but that's the surface I like. Todd Carr says, carrying for self-defense specifically, it would be definitely a fixed blade. No deployment or fail points to worry about. Almost any blade can be used for self-defense, but some do it much better. You know what? And this was first suggested to me by Ed Calderon, and it's the Mora knives. Awesome. Mora knives are awesome for self-defense. Well, according to him, and I totally see what he means. They're wickedly sharp. The handles are very comfortable. They're inexpensive. They're easy to carry. They have an awesome sheath, and you can turn it around and use it in Pakal style, and they are great knives. Anyway, James Hart says, yeah, I'm a kukri collector. Oh, that's awesome. So I had to get the Raja 2. Reach is everything. All right, what do you think of this? Do you have this kukri? I got 2 kukris on the table. I got this one from Spartan Blades. Just kidding, Spartan. I need to pronounce my consonants, even the ones at the end of the sentences. Okay, and then this is the one that Dave sent me. That's the oh man, this thing is so wicked. That's the traditional Filipino weapons version of the kukri, and then this is Bill Harsey's version. Bill Harsey and Spartan Blades. Man, 2 beautiful versions of that knife. I love them both. Adrian Fighter 35 says, about the topic, I'm disgustingly prepared for a shit hits the fan situation. So thanks for all the tips. Wait. I'm disgustingly unprepared. I'm sorry. That was wow. Yeah, just what a difference 2 letters make. Okay, about the topic. I'm disgustingly unprepared for a shit hits the fan situation. So thanks for all the tips, junkies. I have an Espada and an XL Magnum Tanto, so I'm okay for this for a zombie situation. Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing a number of people here who are at various levels of preparedness started with knives. I mean, right? And then you sort of work your way out. I think it's also, knives are a good inspiration to start this stuff. Also, so are kids. Having kids is like, oh, I'm responsible for others now, so I got to make sure that I can feed them and stuff. Robert Von Dar says, regarding shit hits the fan, bladed weapons, I have swords. Very nice. Yeah, swords. Swords for me, it would definitely be a short sword or a machete, but definitely something shorter so that I could swing it longer without fatiguing. I don't look like Robert Von Darth, so I have to worry about that. Robert Von Darth, I now have 8 swords. Oh, James, that's awesome. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. John Griggs, nice to have you here, John. I carry a Gonzo and a small Tops, both EDC. Ooh, nice. Gonzo makes high quality knives, and Tops. I love Tops knives. I love them. I'm wondering which Tops EDC you have. They've got 8 million models, and they discontinue knives, but they have so many knives in print at one time. It's crazy to me. And they're not like a giant. They don't have like a giant. They're not a giant company. James Moore says the rest of the menu, Bob, whole Maine lobster with butter, mashed potatoes, sauteed spinach, and a glass of Chardonnay. That sounds lovely, sir. No blueberry pie, I noticed, but that sounds lovely all the same, especially that lobster and the melted butter. Doing it right on a Thursday night. Pete Davidson says, I read an article once about what makes a great canoe knife. One of the requirements was long enough to reach the bottom of a jar of peanut butter. That is, yes, absolutely. Because peanut butter is one of those high calorie, high protein foods that you can pack. I mean, I don't know if, I guess people do. You can pack it and just eat spoonfuls of it. That stuff will keep you alive, man. Jay Demeter, nice to see you here, Jay. Been listening for a while. You were on my TV. Hard to type. Might not be able. The knife I won didn't come yet. Jay, are you serious? I sent it weeks ago. Have you used the tracking, or like last week? I sent you tracking. We'll take a look. I'll take a look at it later and see where it ended up. You won that Civivi with the fob, and you live in Hawaii. And I sent it. Oh, sorry. I hope that's not. Well, I hope it gets there soon, man. And if not, I guess it'll be returned to me. It did have a suspiciously. Well, no, it showed on the map where it was going. So hopefully it gets there soon. Check the tracking if you haven't already. And then if it doesn't show up, I'll get you something else. Equal value. No problem. Craig Vincent says, my self-defense knife is a fixie of my own design. That's cool. If I have to use it against you, you'll have no hope. That's why I call it the Nope or No Hope. That's awesome, man. I love it. Carrying a knife of your own design is I mean, I've been carrying 2 recently, and man, it's awesome. I mean, obviously you're kind of picking what goes in it, but with both of the ones that I carried, I had collaborative input from 2 great knife makers. So it really like took my idea and made it awesomer. Pete Davidson says, most likely self-defense knife for me is a 10-inch chef's knife. That's like the most common, I think, killing knife. Well, it's a kitchen knife for sure. But I think chef's knives are right up there. James Hart says, I have 6 kukris, all from Kathmandu, Nepal. Oof, beautiful. I remember you talking about them actually a couple weeks ago. J.D. Meter says, carrying a dagger blade, name unknown, but 4.5-inch button lock with a screw-in lock screw. A fast flipper. This is interesting. So you don't know what this is, but it's a dagger with 2 R's. So the Georgian company from Georgia overseas, not our Georgia. Dagger. So which one is that? Double edge flipper, and it's got a little screw to hold it open. That's cool. James Hart says, hey, Knife Junkie, did you ever look up Green River Knives? I don't think I did. Oh, but I still have Green River right here. But I've been doing something different. I've actually been using a notebook now. So let me write this down in the notebook. The computer is totally written on green. Thank you, sir. I will check them out. This is what I love, though, being exposed to companies that are seemingly random. They're random to me because I don't know them, and then I discover them for myself from people like you, and then I'm like, oh my god, this guy's great. Have you guys heard of this? You're like, yeah, I'm the guy who told you about it. Craig Vincent says, Bob, Cold Steel Trailmaster, yes, or Gurkha Kukri Plus. I don't have the Gurkha Kukri Plus. That is my caveat, but I would say Trailmaster. I mean, you got to get the Trailmaster. Well, no matter what you get, you got to get the Trailmaster. And I can vouch for that for close to 30 years. I've had one. It's freaking awesome. Jerry C says, I've got plenty of knives for shit hits the fan, but let's also not forget a good AR platform rifle. Yep. A 12 gauge and a good pistol. Yep. A good woman to keep you warm. Yep. To all of these things. I was thinking hurricane shutters would be nice. Yeah. Flamethrower, at least on each corner of the house would be cool. No. But I agree with you on those. The AR platform rifle is an interesting one, only because I have a different platform rifle and was called a commie by a friend. I was like, I guess you're right, but I just like it. Jay Demeter says, yep, around the 13th. Don't care and do live in Hawaii. Okay, thank you. Yep, around the 13th. Oh, is when I sent it? So it's like 13 days. It's like 2 weeks ago. Doug says, no lobster today, but love my Canadian fried moose lips. Whiskers for toothpicks. Oh, that's awesome. Canadian fried moose lips. Use the whiskers for toothpicks. That sounds like something that you say right before you take a sip of whiskey. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I have great input every week from the makers you bring to us. Oh, awesome. Thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, well, they're interesting people. I think most people are interesting, when you talk to them. But I personally, I'm sure like you, especially find people who make knives interesting. Super Beast, nice to see you, Super Beast. I just got me 2 kukris from K-Bar. Oh, that's awesome. So 2, is it two of the same model, so you can double hand it, Sinawali style, or is it a 2 different models? Because I think they make at least 2 different models at K-Bar. And then I think they do one. They do a Becker. I meant kukri at K-Bar. They do a Becker kukri also. Jorge says, Copus. First of all, nice to have you here, Jorge. Copus Designs Elvia from Ed's Manifesto dropped down knives shipped free. Yep, that's right. I think they just dropped today, didn't they? I thought I had mine out. I have one with a Japanese wrap. It's a great knife. That thing is an awesome knife. 154 cm, very thin. It's got a 0 ground edge, so that's basically like a Scandi edge on a very thin blade. It's just incredibly nasty. And then the blade is oriented just right so you can back fist with it without having to like change your angle. Pete Davidson, in regards to shit hits the fan, what you gonna do when the ammo runs out? Well, that's the thing. One could have a lot of ammo. I mean, it makes one feel secure to have a lot of ammo, but I've really thought about it, and my feeling is that if even one bullet is shot, like I don't know, on one hand, I could see running out and being like, oh, I gotta forage the earth for more ammo, or I could see like it happens one time that it's ever used, and I don't know. I'm not so concerned as I used to be. It used to be some, but that's because when they were threatening to take it all away, I got some, so I think about that. But you know what happens when the ammo runs out, because you don't need to reload this. You just need to feed the thing that's wielding it. And that's that's not easy to do when the shit hits the fan either. So buy your storable food. Jerry C says a flamethrower would be awesome, Bob. In a perfect world with plenty of money, wouldn't it be so nice to have a minigun or two as well? You're speaking my love language. Now we're talking. Yeah. I love that sound it makes. It's so cool. And of course, I would have the Jesse Ventura sling, so I would carry mine around. I mean, that'd be my EDC, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having it on my car. And you know, it wouldn't have to be a turret. I've thought about this. It could be hard mounted. I can steer. I'm a great driver. I could aim it. I could aim the minigun using the car. So I don't need a turret. I'm a simple guy. Let's just figure out a way to mount it in, you know, under the grill so it's not seen. And let's see what we can do. James Hart says there are some really killer slingshots on the market now, plus a crossbow, easy to make bolts for. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I have a cool slingshot. I mean, I think it's cool. It's cool to me. And then I have an old wrist rocket. I have kept in an old trunk. And those wrist rockets, man, I used to be pretty good with those. You can take out a squirrel or a bird or something if you're, you know, trying to put food on the table. Ever tell you about the squirrel recipe I found? It was one time when I was going through one of these sort of survival stages. You know me, I come in and out of different phases. That doesn't mean I no longer find it valuable or interesting. I find it's more like, okay, for now I'm covered in this, and now I can move on to this thing that I'll obsess over, and then I'll come back to this later. But I saw a recipe for squirrel once when I was like, well, what if I had to eat a squirrel? How do you prepare a squirrel? And it was this delicious looking recipe. It was like Mediterranean squirrel. It had capers, it had olives, it had basil, fresh basil, and I think dried oregano and orzo pasta and all this. And I'm like, wait a second. Like if I'm doing all this, capers, olives, orzo pasta, fresh basil, I'm not using squirrel. I'm using, you know, chicken or something else. And it dawned on me, like, how ridiculous. Who's gonna have all of that stuff when they're hunting squirrel? It's like, oh, we have all the olives left, but you know, no me. I don't know. It just seemed ridiculous to me. But maybe I'm not taking into account that in some places, maybe squirrels really are like chicken, and that's just how they like to eat the squirrel. I mean, people eat rabbit. It's not that I love rabbit. It's not that far from squirrel, is it? Pete Davidson says, when you're up to your nuts in empty mags and grenade pins, you've got cold steel. God bless Uncle Thompson. Up to your nuts in empty mags. Yeah, that's right. Just a pile. And you've got a wall of the enemy corpses, just like keeping the others back, you know, like zombies. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I agree. Check out the Green River. Oh, check out the Green River knife. The Green River knife. Yes. Okay. It's been made continuously since the 1840s or so. You should also get your hands on an Ontario 14-inch hickory butcher knife if you can still find one. I agree. On that 14-inch butcher. And they also made a smaller version of it with a sheath for a short while, I believe. But the Green River knife, okay, I will definitely look it up. And for some reason, I thought Jim called it up last time it was mentioned, but I might be wrong. Oh my gosh, I'm going to itch my nose right off. Doug says, when the shit hits the fan, first have a pre-planned location for bringing family together and then go from there. Yep. Make a kit, make a plan, stay informed. Is that the order? Super Beast says they're both 1249 classic black kukri machetes. Ooh. Okay. Classic. Okay, so they're both the very same model. Oh man, I love that. Super Beast, one more question. Do you intend to wield them simultaneously, or is it the sort of thing where you love it, you want a backup, or you have one stashed in your truck and one in your den or something like that? Have a Knife Day says, have a recurved bow with some interesting arrowheads from Cold Steel. That's right. Cold Steel, if you get their arrowheads, you know that they'll be interesting. And don't they make their arrowheads out of like Grivery or something? Kydex, something like that. or G10. They also do blow guns. I was just thinking the other day, what if I get a blow? That'd be cool to get a blow, like an alternative. And I'm like, yeah, but you're relying on your, and I don't know. I'm like, nah, it doesn't seem like me. I think I'd rather use slingshot. Jerry C says, I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is at least we're having the discussion. Another thing for Shit Hits the Fan is community, as we're stronger together than doing it alone. Yep, no doubt. And the people who live in my community all be coming to my house, which, no, I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm just kidding. First of all, in my community, we have friends in our community, and that's actually pretty rare. So we all have our skills and our strengths. So I think it would be awesome to band together. Well, there's one neighbor, but they're not friends. So I'm just kidding. They're going to have to stay out. They're going to have to prove their worth. Just kidding. Have a Knife Day says, on the bombshell, have a knife night and stay sharp tomorrow. Thank you, my man. Have an awesome one. Have a Knife Day is out. Have a wonderful weekend. And yeah, we'll see you here next week. Jay Demeter, as for not ammo, others shooting at you don't need their gun or ammo anymore. Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. You know, when I was a kid, every movie I saw where they didn't pick up every gun after they killed, I'd be like, why didn't he pick up the gun? Why didn't he run over and pick up the gun? You know, and it's like, well, because you can't carry 14 M16s at once. But Arnold could. Like, why didn't he pick up all the guns? He killed an awful lot of people in Predator or in Commando. He could have picked up an awful lot of guns. Super B says, going to practice with both of them. Just wish I had two BK-21 Reinhardt kukris. Ooh, I think that's the one that I was talking about. I think it's got a longer, maybe slightly less recurve blade, or maybe I just remember it has the Becker handle and an elegant blade. Doug Bull, Bob, stay safe. Have a good one. Thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate it. And again, before you go, I just want to say thanks again for this tremendous gift. I love this thing. I'm going to get a new sheath from K-Bar. I think I want, at first I was thinking, you know what, I'll do a Kydex, but I think I want the drop sheath. So thank you. Also, everybody, remember to download the Legal Blade app. It costs you nothing. It's so easy to look at a glance. You can check the knife laws in any state you're going to. It is pretty awesome. Because I live in a tri-state area. There are many tri-state areas, and say you're going from New York to Connecticut or New York to New Jersey. Well, you know, you can't have any knife in that situation, but you know, you can check your laws anyway. Craig Vincent says, I used to be dead accurate with a blowgun. I routinely stuck spiders to the wall. Accidentally shot a coworker in the ass on the job one day. He was not a happy camper. That's hilarious, man. Wow, that's pretty accurate, dude. Jerry C says, I know one thing. We're sure as hell being bombarded in the press with more and more talk of nuclear war. It's almost as if the leaders and governments of the military-industrial complex want it. Of course they want it. And I say that like, of course they want it. But I mean, if they didn't want it, they'd be working hard to not have it. And you know, the media, they just try to speak things into being. They think they're God. James Hart says, I'm out. Everyone have a good night. James, have a wonderful, wonderful night and a great weekend, and stay sharp, and see some of you next Thursday. Awesome, man. Have a wonderful one, James. So yeah, well, those are my recommendations. Also, like I was saying before, check out if you've got extra knives laying around, extra blades hanging out. I highly recommend that you go check out Northern Knives and check out The Exchange. It's page after page of really nice knives that are there for trade. Some fixed, lots of folders, and yeah, check that out. I plan on doing the same thing right here. I think I had one. Did I have anything else to show before I dip out of here? I had the Hobo Cook set. It's going to take forever to show, so I'm not going to show it here. I'll do an extra different video. Thank you, Jim. I wanted to show this. This is This is a picture that Matt Chase of Hawktooth Knives sent me of a ruffian that he just finished, and it's got a beautiful hand satin. I just wanted to show it, hand rub satin. I know a lot of guys like this knife, and they always comment on it when I show it off. So if anyone here likes the Hawktooth Ruffian, man, this is a special one with that deep black micarta and that hand rubbed horizontal hand rub satin. So definitely check that out. All right, I think that about does it for us. I'm going to put this dangerous implement away and wrap this up. Be sure to join us for episode 539 with Princeton Wong of Prince Customs. He had best foreign design this year with the CRKT Fial. That was the really cool modern front flipper that has an entire wine key built into the handle that you can barely detect is there until you need it, and a lot of other stuff. Very cool guy, very incredibly talented guy, and he came out of the car world. So very interesting in terms of his design influences and also just his building prowess and know-how. El Cap Addict, thanks for the live. Later, everyone. Take care, man. Pleasure to have you with us. Jerry C, thanks, Bob. Everyone, for have a great weekend. Stay safe. Oh, that's cool. That's what that is. I like that. M and the slashes. I'm going to bite off on your stilo. Todd Carr says, have a great night, everyone, and keep making sharp things fun and enjoyable. Oh, I know we will. Gus Beck says, thanks, Bob and Jim. You guys rock. Have a good night. Well, you have a good night too, my man. Craig Vincent says, good live. Thanks, Bob and Jim. Night all. Good night to you, and have a wonderful weekend. Pete, have an awesome weekend. Night, boys and girls. Mark Stallman. Adios, junkies. Mark, thanks for joining us, man. You have an awesome one. Jay, thanks for everything. Aloha, and keep in touch, or I will look at the tracking and see. And if it's just lost or delivered somewhere else, then I'll get you something else out to you. All right, everybody. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.